Coach, pretty successful season so far for the Roadrunners. Just what's been the mood like in this dugout so far this season?
For the season, it's been good. Yeah, real good. Little disappointed today, just as we didn't play. We didn't play wonderful last night. There were some other things that happened that probably didn't help, but we certainly could have played better. But it's been good. Yeah, to answer your question, the mood's been good. The players are wonderful. I'm lucky to be where I am and get to coach them. I know that.
What do you attribute the success to? I mean, it's you guys are on pace for a record-breaking season.
Yeah, it's not any one thing, that's for sure. But we're improved pitching-wise, and for a mid-major, which I think it's fair to say that's what UTSA is, we're better pitching than most mid-majors. We're deeper. We got a couple really good pitchers, which is not always uncommon at a mid-major. You can find some mid-majors with a couple really good pitchers, but to be as deep as we are on the mound is uncommon. So that's probably the one difference. I think in other years, and certainly last year, we were good with the bat, and we got a pretty good defense. Early in the year, I was a little worried about the infield defense. We didn't get off to such a good start, but they've improved. Those guys have worked really hard. Matt King, Leighton Berry, and Antonio, and they've solidified it a little bit on the infield, which is nice because you got to play good defense. In the long run, it'll bite you. The outfield defense has been good all year. We're a little banged up there right now, but maybe not this weekend. But I think by next weekend, those guys will be healthy. So they've been stellar defensively all year.
Some of those things, Coach, that we talked about even dating back to last year that are going to matter for, as you say, this program is a mid-major, the RPI, the ranking, the overall record. With a month to go in the regular season, how do you feel about your positioning with those things in mind right now?
We're where we want to be. I don't know what Dr. Campos would say, but we had a couple visits in there about hosting, which is awesome, right? Like just that we're talking about that over there at the missions. I hope I can say that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but at least they asked me what I thought about it, right? So I think that's wonderful. Just to be having these conversations, that's what we want to do. So that's a good thing. That's what we are. That's what the kids talk about. This is different. So different in the right direction is good. But at the end of the day, you got to play good. You don't get lucky for 56 games. You don't keep catching breaks. You got to play good baseball. And mostly we do that. I think we could have played a little better last night, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to control what we can control. Throw strikes, catch the ball, and fight at the plate. Those are the three things we talk about the most.
Hosting, did that conversation catch you off guard, or was that
a little bit? It didn't catch me off guard. I know we're good, right? Like I don't mind saying that we're a good team. I'm not surprised we're good. I'm with these guys every day. They're good at baseball. It caught me off guard that they brought it up. That's what caught me off guard.
The discussion centered on a possible host at Wolf Stadium.
Yeah, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying we're gonna. We got work to do. Like our RPI is not there. Like we are not in a position to host. Our RPI would have to improve. But at the end of the day, the conversation was brought up because I guess you got to put those bids in fairly early. So again, that's just the type of conversation that if you want to be good and you think you're good, that you're supposed to have. And I don't think it's ever happened around here. And it's nice to have them, But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm a realist. These guys, they're realists too. The players know. We're not even in the tournament. By golly, we got a lot of work to do to make the tournament. So let's go to work, right?
Yeah. Coach, last year you guys were snubbed from that tournament. Do you carry some of those, I guess, ill feelings? And do you see some of your players kind of carry that into this season?
I do. We don't talk about it much. JJ, a lot of people think we do. We don't talk about it much. Every once in a while we'll say something like every game matters. Maybe if we had won one more last year, but we really don't talk about it much because a lot of that's not in your control, right? You're trying, winning is not even always in your control. So there's so many things that we don't control. We try to talk about what we do control. We control where the ball goes when the pitcher lets go of it, and that's how the game starts. So we talk about pitching, throwing the ball where we want. We talk about fighting at the plate, right? Like never giving in despite a bad umpire or a good play by a defender. So I do carry some of those feelings. Yeah, I think a few of the players do. They got a chip on their shoulder. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to stick with what we control.
You guys have climbed to the top of the conference standings, but you still have some tough series ahead. How do you guys keep your positioning at the top?
Oh, not to beat on the same drum, but again, it gets back to the fundamentals. We need to be better than the other team at throwing strikes, and we weren't last night. That's where it all started. Texas State threw more strikes than us. You say, well, they hit a couple homers and you didn't. That's right, but if you throw more strikes than the other team, you're off. You got an advantage from the beginning. So at the end of the day, we got to beat people. We got to play better, and it starts with strike one, and then it gets into the defense. That's the next thing we look at, and then finally we look at the guys with the bat. And you can hit 10 balls super hard and they can get caught, or you can fight your guts out with 2 strikes and put yourself in a position to get lucky. So at the plate, we talk more about fighting, being a tough out, not giving in despite some adversity. So at the end of the day, it gets back to those 3 things: throw strikes, play defense, and fight at the bat.
Coach, speaking of fighting, I do want to ask about it's rare you get thrown out of a game. Was that a decision you made heading into the inning, or is it just kind of how the first 2 pitches unfolded?
It wasn't a decision heading into the inning. In the moment when he called the low pitch on Matt and he hadn't called the low pitch, he was wide, but he was fair. Wide, he was fair. He was wide for both teams. And we learned that by about the 3rd inning. It was just wide. It was extremely wide. I've seen some of the video. That's why Taylor didn't get a pitch over the plate. I feel bad for him. I got on him a little bit in the dugout, and then I watched the video, and he literally had 2 at-bats. He never got a pitch over the plate. But it was not a decision I made going into the inning. When he did call the ball low on Matt, he hadn't called the low pitch all night for either team. I kind of said, you know what, maybe a little spark here might help. You never know, right? But I tried to be real careful not to do it prolonged. That's what they call it, where I would get suspended the next game. And from what I understand, I'm not. So happy about that.
What do you learn most about those kind of experiences in a really great environment here at home against a good team that kind of prepares you for later in the season here?
Well, we'll see. You learn more about it in the future, like what happens. But we've been, these guys, most of them, we've been together a while. Guys like Leighton Berry and Matt King was here last year, but Leighton's been here a while. Josh Colleen, Sammy Diaz. We know what we're going to get. They're going to be the right stuff. We're a mid-major, so right, you're going to roll into a lot of people who are going to have more talent than us. But Luke Malone's been beating people with more talent than him for 3 years. So we'll see exactly what we learned over the next 2 weeks. But based on the last year and a half, I have learned that these kids are tough.
Coach, what was the process for you to bring Antonio Valdez and Taylor Smith in here this year and reunite with those guys?
Started with just asking them once they got in the portal, just calling and asking if they wanted to come, right? And Coach Aguayo deserves a lot of credit. I don't know if they've said that, but he deserves a lot of credit. He coached them both with me, and he's with them a lot in the batting cage. There's a good relationship there. So I'm sure that was part of it, the relationship with Coach Aguayo.
They both mentioned that there's something about playing under you that's a little bit different. Is there something about your coaching style or style of play that you think sets this program apart?
That I don't know. I don't know. I try to be real with them. That's the one thing. I try not to BS them. It can be, being real with them sometimes means rough, but in the moment they don't always like it, but they get better, and they like getting better. So.
Coach, how good is your team, and how far can this team go this year?
I don't know for sure, JJ. I know we're good. I don't know how far we can go. We need to stay healthy. It's ironic that we're a little banged up in the outfield because we're deep in the outfield. We can match people up in the outfield pretty good, lefty-righty matchups with Dalton Porter. There's some guys on our bench that are really good baseball players. Dalton Porter's one, and we losing Sardashny and Walker, and Odom played hurt last night. People don't know, but he played center last night because he was the only center fielder left. He's got a bad back. So I don't know how far we can go. But if you heard Schlossnagel after we beat them, he thinks we're pretty good. If we're healthy, I don't see why we can't play in Omaha. I know that's a big statement, and again, I got to be careful what I say because we haven't even made the tournament, right? Like that's really our first goal. Our goal is to win 40 games, win a championship in our conference. We get 2 shots at that, and to make a regional. So that's where we're focused right now. But we need to stay healthy, and if we do that, I like our chances.
A lot of things with this program have changed the last few years. You mentioned in the positive direction. What's the next step this program needs to take?
A stadium, a field. You know, what we did last year and what we're doing right now is fantastic. But I'm not sure how sustainable it is in the world of Division I recruiting without a stadium and a field. You know, we play in a high school. It's not even a high school stadium. It's a JV stadium. That's what my kids tell me, and they both play high school baseball. So I'm not here to complain about it. My kids don't complain about it. You start the game, it's 90 feet to the bases and all that, and we kind of use it as a chip on our shoulder, right? Like other people don't think they don't respect us as much because of the stadium. Well, we can play baseball, so it's all good with us. But that's what we need. That's what we need to make this thing sustainable.
Coach, how are Shane and Isaiah going into Florida?
We'll find out today here at practice, Jerry, but I think Isaiah will make the trip, and I don't think Shane will make the trip, but in about 2.5 hours, we'll know better. Yeah. Same with Odom.
Coach, you talked about there's still work left to do, and 18, 19 games left. You guys have told us, they're checking in on the standings, the RPI. How do you keep them from putting too much pressure on themselves to try and get where it is that y'all need to get to?
I don't. To be honest with you, I don't. I mean, if you want to be good, the RPI matters. If you want to be good, the standings matter. So I don't try to take pressure off of them, I'll be honest. I don't try to heap it on them, but I try to be honest. We talk about the RPI mattering, is that a word? And we talk about the standings, right? Like, we don't talk about we have to win. We talk about deserving to win. You don't always win when you deserve to win, but we talk about deserving to win and things that are within our control. But I certainly don't try to take pressure off of them. I try to be real with them. And again, I think I think it was a shock a little bit a couple years ago. Never heard of this, right? I think it was Billie Jean King that said pressure is a privilege.
Coach, you mentioned the stadium and what it would take to build a sustainable program. How often do you have conversations with Lisa or the administration about those next steps and what it takes to get there?
Not enough. Not enough.
Coach has got to go.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.